Hello.
Hey.
So what are we talking about
Oh, yeah, I
today?
forgot. No, I didn't. We're going to talk about honesty, humility, and compassion.
What came? I even forgot how we came up with those three things. I think you did, right?
Yeah, I came up with it, and then I brought it to you, and you're like, oh, I like that.
Yeah.
And so actually, oh, yeah, because I guess I'll tell that story. So I'm at this place, and at the time he had this girlfriend, and I didn't realize how crazy she was until basically. So I go over, and this is during COVID season. Oh, that's right. And
Are you sure this can be on here? We're not gonna get in trouble.
oh, that's right. You too. Maybe I can't share this story. Okay, I'm just gonna cut to
yes.
what's actually important. We get into this debate, and the argument gets heated, and I'm just thinking like, this is ridiculous. And at some point, I'm like, this has to stop. And I'm telling her, setting my boundaries, saying like, look, if you can't respect this argument, then I'm not going to continue, because she was just being insanely disrespectful. So I walk out, I leave, and she's just nutty and shouting things at me. And on the ride home, I'm driving home thinking, how can I prevent this from happening again? Because I'm like, I've seen these kind of debates go where somebody's so firm on one side, and I'm like, I know the knowledge, like I know the truth, and it's just hard to convey it because they're being so like, I don't know what the word is, like ignorant, I guess. They're like defending their place without any substance, and they think they're making good points, they just start attacking you, and I'm just like, you're not even addressing the main point. So anyways, I was like, okay, if I were to enter a conversation again with that topic, what would be my 3 rules? And I don't know like why I set to 3. It was just I wanted simplicity, and then it came up like, hey, both people, we need to agree to be honest. So that was a rule. And then I thought, okay, we both need to be humble enough to say, maybe I'm wrong, right? Mm-hmm. So I need to be able to go into a discussion with the humility to say, you know what? Maybe there's something I don't know. Maybe my position could be wrong. And I think that's healthy to go in accepting that potential, at least, right? Even if you really are, you're right, just open that little window of like, I don't know everything. And then the last one, that was a tough one. I wanted to include a lot of things, and then I found that perhaps compassion suited that. Mm-hmm. But I was looking for something in terms of like respect, because I'm like, can you just respect me, not be like attacking me and being vicious and all that? And then I felt, but respect alone might not include what I'm really looking for. And I felt compassion also included like you're respectful, but you're also kind. Mm-hmm. And then you're also being kind of empathetic to the other side. So I feel like compassion is a little more on that loving side, whereas respect can maybe seem a little cold.
Yeah.
So yeah, I came up with that on the ride home, and then I probably told Minnie like as soon as that happened.
Let's go deeper into that. So let's start with honesty, right? How do you define, what was the definition for honesty?
Well, I think honesty had to do with you expressing the truth, like basically you're not deceiving anybody, you're being authentic in what you know to be true, and you're not deceptive, and you're not deceptive to others, and you're also not deceptive to yourself, because sometimes we have to learn to be honest with ourselves, and so that was the key component, I think, with honesty.
What is the base or backing of honesty? Like, how can you define if you're honesty to yourself or honesty to another person? What is it based on? Like a truth?
Well, it's the truth of like your intent, or the truth of what you know to be true. So like, to be honest with yourself, only you can answer that question. Mm-hmm. You know the truth, whether you're hiding it or not, or running from it. If you're running, it means you're running from something, right? So we have to at least address those things. And once again, even if you're being honest with somebody else, only you're the one who truly knows if you're honest. The other person, like me, if you're telling me something, I have to trust that you're being honest with me, right? I'm not seeing any holes in your story. I'm not seeing any contradictions or whatever. I'm just going to assume that you're being truthful with me. But in the end, you are the one who knows whether or not you're honest. So,
Okay. And then humility.
yeah, humility, that's you're opening up that space to say, I was trying to combat arrogance basically. And I then when I look at the opposing virtue to that, that's humility. And so you're humbling yourself to say, I don't know everything. You're humbling yourself to not think that you're better than the other person. I think that's very important.
I think humility also leads to like open mind, open hearted,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Like you said, it's the openness of, oh, I can be wrong, or open minded that you don't know the complete truth, which kind of pair with honesty, right?
Yeah.
And that there are other possible ways. And then can you also be like the acceptance that I don't need to know the truth,
Yeah.
right? Or the absolute truth.
Yeah. You don't have to know everything in order to continue living. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then compassion is just with vulnerability, with
a pure heart, essentially. Like your pure heart or loving kindness, you're creating a space so that others can be vulnerable with you, and
no judgment,
right? Like that's why I loved compassion. It just seems to encapsulate a lot of really good things. So it's just from the heart. It's you're being empathetic to the person. You're allowing them to express themselves, and you're not judging them. You're not trying to hurt them. There's no agenda. You're just letting them be, and I think that's very important for
people to be authentic. And, and then goes back to how people can be honest and
humble.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. It's like there's the word humble and then humility. Like it's different. Why is it not humility?
Yeah, I
know. or humility?
Oh,
yeah, humble.
English. And then cool. And then how would you see it play out in Cafe Cadenza, and how does it benefit Cafe Cadenza?
Well, I feel like we want to have a constitution, and in that constitution, I think those three virtues are going to be front and center. Mm-hmm. We'll have other things as well as we kind of grow the community, but I feel like those three pillars, if I was to ever form an alliance with another community, I need them to agree on those three principles, because I feel like if you're disagreeing with any one of those three, I'm kind of questioning your character at this point. So I feel like to me that's just the pillars of being a good person and thus being a good community, and I think they're guidelines that we'll follow as a community, and our decisions can be based on those things, right? So if we're going to act, we have to act with those three principles always in mind. We have to make sure that if we encounter a conflict, we approach it using those three principles, and I just think that'll just lead to success.
Harmonious.
Yeah, just how to live well with each other and other communities and other people.
Sounds good. So we want to know your thoughts on those three principles: honesty, humility, and compassion. What do you think is, let's say, the most difficult for you in your life, and why? I mean, you could think about it. It's a good way to analyze yourself and work on yourself with that. You don't have to put it in comment, but if you would like to share anything, let us know with the comment below, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.